The Smashing Machine was directed by Benny Safdie and is a biopic that chronicles the life of MMA fighter Mark Kerr from the years 1997 through 2000. Kerr is played by The Rock in what is his attempt to break out as an actor who is up to the challenge of taking on complex roles, and some early Oscar buzz has been surrounding his performance in this film. It also stars Emily Blunt as his girlfriend. We see the early days of his career all the way through a tournament he enters in the year 2000. This is a movie that is trying to be great, and I think it mostly gets there, but not without some fumbles along the way. First, let me talk about the fight scenes in the film. They aren't the central focus, nor should they be, but they are shot so well and looked convincing in their brutality. All of them give a realistic vibe similar to the final fight in Rocky Balboa, which is funny that I have mentioned that film twice in the last 3 reviews I have done as a comparison. Anyway, since The Rock is a wrestler, or at least he was, he knows how to take good bumps when he needs to, and it is shot very well to add authentic feel to it. There were times where I felt I was watching a pay-per-view bout, so it had me convinced. We have another film that is more of a drifting type of story and doesn't necessarily have a linear narrative you can latch onto. We're just following the life of a man who started out as this polite person who wanted to achieve great things. And then we see him slip into drugs and go down the long, dark path of that. So the fact that this film seems directionless may turn off some people. But as I said in my reviews of The Last Showgirl and The Dead Thing, I vibe so much with stories that just have an organic life drift to them. It allows me to escape into the magic of the world being put on the screen. And I feel like I'm just watching a group of people live their lives like we're just passerbys to them. Before I talk about The Rock, I want to give it up to the supporting cast because they are what elevate his performance more than anything else. Emily Blunt is great as his loving but a little crazy girlfriend who puts up with a ton of shit from Mark Kerr. She isn't given much to work with, and unfortunately the relationship between the two lovers ends up becoming monotonous after a time. There is some great escalating conflicts the two have though, but then it cuts away to other points of the story it wants to make. And they seem to be getting along again for like no reason apparently. Like it was weird that she throws a plate down a flight of stairs, and I thought that was a huge escalation in their relationship. And they don't have a scene showing them making up from that. And the next time we see her, like 10 minutes later, they're a happy couple again. I'm like, wait, what the heck happened? It was a weird issue of trimming fat that I think should have been in there to add to the authenticity of the picture. But since they aren't there, it seems like Emily Blunt's character gets regulated to a plot point during some point in the film. And it's unfortunate because she does a great job with the material she does have. But she is not the only one who is a great supporting cast member. I'm talking simple characters such as the ring referees or even a pharmacy technician. There's a great scene where Kerr is trying to get painkillers, and the guy working at the pharmacy keeps rejecting him because he doesn't have a prescription for one. While Kerr begins acting irritable and kind of like a Karen in a downplayed way, the guy behind the counter is great at being unassuming to allow the uncomfortableness of the scene to play out organically. The supporting cast is what elevates the performances here in my opinion. So let's talk about The Rock. When I reviewed Red One last year, I said that I can't take him seriously as an actor because I followed his entire wrestling career, and I can't unsee that personally. For the first 35 minutes, I still felt that way. Then there's a beautiful, long tracking shot that follows him after he loses his first fight. It is all behind his back as he is walking to a dressing room. The music is amped perfectly, he sits down all by himself, and just begins crying. At that moment, I fully bought into his character, and that I was no longer watching The Rock. So yes, The Rock's performance in this film is excellent. However, I know even though this is real to the true man he's playing, there's a section later in the film where he shaves his head, and I got pulled back out again unfortunately, and was saying to myself, well, I'm watching The Rock again, because he looked like the man I have seen on TV for almost 30 years. That's not The Rock's fault or the film's fault. The prosthetic makeup is great. It's just the aura The Rock gives off is nearly impossible to delete. It's still a great performance though, and is easily the best of his entire career. The film does have sections in it where it feels detached from the rest of the story, or a lot of the scenes, while all great, didn't fit into the puzzle of the rest of the movie. We follow his best friend for a while, who begins mounting a comeback as a fighter, and it is supposed to help lead us to a natural showdown between the two in the ring. While it is all well acted, it felt like it was inserted in there in weird portions and made the movie feel oddly paced in the second act of the film. However, I do like this movie overall. It is better than most of the recent biopics I've seen lately, such as A Complete Unknown, but it's not as good as Better Man. But I still like it. We do see the real Mark Kerr in the picture, but it is followed by a bunch of flavored text that I wasn't a fan of because I would rather have seen some of the things the movie tells me rather than read about it. I felt they wanted this film to be about 30 minutes longer, but for some reason decided to keep it right at 2 hours. But what is there, I think is really good, if a little undercooked with its pathos. Some of the sincerity doesn't land as authentic for me, but the strong performances and the epic way the film is shot make this an easy recommend for me. I think that this film is dividing people because it feels directionless, but as I have said many times on this channel, I latch onto films like that and always have a good time with them because they are designed that way, instead of the same predictable paths I see hundreds of times every single year in films. Check this film out. I give The Smashing Machine 3 stars out of 4. The performances and fight scenes hold the movie together. It only fumbles itself in the second act, so I say it's worth a watch. And that is my review. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please like and subscribe. Here's links to my other videos. Follow me on social media if you like. And until next time, I am Ghost.